have the most brutal 4-game stretch of any team in the country? Let's talk about it. 8. That's the number of home games Auburn has in 2024. But it's the SEC, so Auburn's schedule is both favorable and brutal in the same breath. Auburn has a 4-game stretch some would consider the most brutal in the country. Starting on September 28th, Oklahoma comes to Auburn for the first time in the history of these two programs. The Sooners finished last season as an AP Top 15 team, and they've been loaded with talent for a while. Now, they're not the same offensive team under Venables that they were under Lincoln Riley, but they should prove to be a formidable challenge for the Tigers. This game likely serves as a litmus test to see where Auburn is really at headed into a brutal 3-game road stretch. After Oklahoma, the Tigers don't play another home game for a month. So if they do get through the Sooners, their reward is Georgia on the road in Athens. Kirby Smart returns a team that came up just short of the college football playoff. Many believe that Georgia was still the best team in the country despite their SEC championship game loss to Alabama. Kirby Smart is going to return one of the best QBs in college football. His name is Carson Beck, and he's sure to be a headache for DJ Durkin and Charles Kelly. Now, Georgia has only lost to 2 games in the last 3 years, so beating them in their house would be historic in every way for Auburn. 2005 was the last time Auburn went into Athens and got the win, so Hugh Freeze might get a statue if he can pull that one off. After Georgia, the college football gods blessed Auburn with an opponent that finished number 8 in the AP poll last season. Missouri is on a roll, and they return one of the most prolific QB wide receiver tandems in the country in Brady Cook and Luther Burden. Cook and Burden both project as top 10 players at their respective positions, so knocking them off would be no small task. Now, while Mizzou may be favored headed into this matchup, it's worth noting that they've lost their last 3 to Auburn. Mizzou's last win versus Auburn was literally during the Nixon administration. Can Auburn win a 4th straight versus Mizzou? It's going to be tough. That brings us to the end of Auburn's Amen Corner. The Kentucky Wildcats cap a month-long road stretch for Hugh Freeze and his team that may very well define Hugh Freeze's second season on the Plains. ESPN projects Kentucky as the number 23 team in the country in their way too early 2024 ranking. Finishing last season only 7-6, you may be inclined to think that Kentucky is not that good. However, 3 of Kentucky's 6 losses were by 6 points or less. The other 3 losses came to top 10 teams, which included Alabama, Georgia, and Mizzou. Since Auburn plays Kentucky in Lexington, this is definitely a game that can't be overlooked. So let's recap. Oklahoma at home, Georgia in Athens, Mizzou in Columbia, and Kentucky in Lexington. What do you guys think? Is this the toughest 4-game stretch in college football? Comment down below after the video whether you think Auburn has the toughest 4-game stretch in college football, and if not, who does? While you're at it, visit goldenscastiron.com for all your grilling, kettlebell, and dumbbell needs. We love them at Goldens for sponsoring this segment, and you should too. What's up, War Report family? We're back with another great edition of The Mix. Joining me for this week's episode, Auburn head football coach Hugh Freeze. Coach, let's jump right in here. You became a granddad this offseason.
Yeah, 2 times over.
2 times over,
yeah.
Right? So it was your second grandchild just recently?
Well, both were born the same year, one in July. Well, same year, one in July, then one in November, I believe it was. So I got to get that right. Yes. So they're about 3 to 4 months apart.
How's Hugh Freeze, a granddad, doing? Like you're dealing with a lot.
It's people say it's the greatest thing, and my wife is absolutely just loving it. She keeps both of them, Hudson and DJ, 3 days a week on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and so she's just loving it. For me, it's they're still a little young for me to totally enjoy them. I love being around them, obviously, but they're both starting to get a great personality, and I look forward to to the years to come with them for sure. Whether it's at the lake or in the pool, or they both like water, it seems. So we'll enjoy that. But the greatest thing about it is when you get tired of having them, you can give them back to their parents.
You're done with your child rearing
That's right.
days. Okay, all right. Well, you got some other kind of children here at Auburn Football. You've got 100 players that you got to manage.
125.
125?
115.
Okay.
115, and then the rest of the staff.
Okay.
Sometimes it feels like you're managing them too.
Let's talk, like, while we're on that, so let's talk about Marcus Davis.
Yeah.
You talked about Coach Garrett and the success you had with him as a young coach. You went out and you hired former Auburn wide receiver Marcus Davis, and then you signed the best wide receiver class in the country. Now, you said you wanted pass catchers with catch radius, and you went out and got that in camp. Coleman, Perry Thompson gets here in a few weeks. How's Marcus Davis doing? What kind of things do you do for a young coach to kind of bring him along?
Well, number one, Marcus is an incredible human being. And I think that matters for me and our culture and our building. And I love the man that he is. I love his love for Auburn. And I think both of those translate into being a great recruiter, because he loves this place, wants to see it succeed, has invested his sweat equity into this place. And he's also an incredible human being that believes in the same things I believe in. And so all of that is translated into him being very successful on the recruiting road. Then you put with it, he's a young coach, but he's around some guys that can help, whether it's Derek Nix or Ken Austin or myself, that have coached high achieving receivers. And not that he needs our help, but it's a collaboration of, hey, what do you think about this on this release, or how should the top end of this route look? And we have a lot of opinions and the great thing about those opinions, whether it's Marcus's or Derek's or myself's or Kent's or even somebody else, you got Maurice Harris back with us too, who's coached my receivers for a lot of years. And
so there's other support there for him.
And the great thing about that support there for Marcus is nobody has an ego. None of that group. They don't care who gets credit, or it's, man, what is best. And so I think Marcus is very, very good. And I think what he's been surrounded with is only going to enhance our receiver room.
Coach, going back to something that we've talked about before, at the quarterback position, the pass game. Payton Thorne had about 266 pass attempts last season. That was bottom of the league in terms of starting quarterbacks that took more than 50% of
bottom for my whole career.
For your whole career, right? Yeah, your quarterbacks average about 400 attempts per season. How do you get that going the right direction this year? How do you get the passing game going? Obviously, you got some young, talented pass catchers, but they're young.
I really think that's the whole key right there. Is I'm convinced that the quarterback room we have can throw the football.
Yeah.
But you have to have the right pieces, or it's futile to really try it. And I do think we've put ourselves in a position where we're hopeful and cautiously optimistic that that's going to be improved, and you'll see more attempts because of the pieces that we've brought into the program through recruiting.
Is some of that your confidence in the pass catchers and the passers as well, too, and calling those plays?
It's really difficult to live in the world I've lived in for many years and free will call the game, and knowing this might be a throw on this run if I call it the way I want to call it, or the way we want to call it, Nix, myself, Kent, whoever's all collaborating in that game plan. And you better be able to win those one-on-ones. And if you're not able to win those one-on-ones, is that a smart call?
Right.
And so, it's too early to tell. I know we're going to be able to in time. I'm really excited about Cam, Malcolm, and Perry, and Bryce, and the ones we've added through the portal too. Whether it's Dre or Robert or Sam or You know, I think Camden Brown was improving in the first week of spring, and then he was injured again. You know, and so it's just but there's no question we've improved that room.
Yeah.
And now, can the young kids come in year one and play in this league against some of the best athletes in the world that are over there? We're going to find out. I'm cautiously optimistic. Laquan Treadwell did it. Dante Moncrief did it. Van Jefferson did it. A.J. Brown, to a certain extent. DK got hurt his freshman year. But I've seen it happen before.
Last year, you guys ran toward the season. It seemed like you were leaning more 12 personnel. Yeah. Going into this year, you think maybe you see more 11 and 10 personnel?
Yeah, you would think
there?
so. I mean, that's more. I love 12 personnel, but I think there's a time for it for sure. But we were heavy into that, if not 13 some.
Yeah.
And so I definitely think you'll see more balanced in 11, 10, and 12.
You have to do that, right? To get you recruited these great receivers, and you've got to find them time on the field. The transfer portal has created some challenges in re-recruiting your roster every year. Like, is there a worry as a head coach that if I don't get these guys time this year, they might leave on me in the offseason?
I think that is what you just said is so I've been sitting there this morning with personnel. I just finished with them, just trying to figure out the 85. Yeah. It's almost impossible for a coach to plan that anymore. And you have been around and heard me say all the time, I'm committed to trying to build this through genuine relationships with really good high school players. Yeah. And I think we can recruit top 10 classes every year here at Auburn. Yeah. And I think that's how you really stack and build a program. Now, here's the new challenge. That used to be the way you do it. Mm-hmm. Well, now we just signed the top class in 24, and I think we're going to sign another one in 25. And what happens at the end of that first year? Does those genuine relationships really win out? Yeah. Over the phone calls that they're going to get? I don't know the answer to that yet, Mike, and I sure hope so. At some point, young men are going to have to decide what's really, really important to them. Yeah. And is it being in a culture and an environment that I know I can be developed in, and I need to have some patience, and I know I'm being blessed, or does something else drive the decision? And I think anytime you get into those other things, you're in a dangerous territory of making decisions based on something that I don't believe is the wisest reason. Yeah. And so we're going to see. I don't know how to answer that yet. It's a tough call, Coach. I've gotten a look at what some of the other schools are doing to attract players from the transfer portal. I mean, you've got these elaborate, packages, I'll call them, that they say, hey, come here and you get this apartment and you get, these things. And so it's become a tough sell job to get guys to stay at your program. And then they go in the portal again in a year because all of that stuff went away or it wasn't exactly as it was, and that's happening a lot of places. And that's why I say, man, I want to find the people that are making it, man. The environment, the culture, the system, the development. Yes, we're being blessed. Also, our collect is very fair. Yeah. But at some point, things in life, to be real life, have to be earned. And if we're not teaching that, then Mike, what are we really going to teach them when all this is over? Yeah. And so I'm just hitting it head on with those truths, and hopefully can win through these relationships we've built.
We only have a few minutes left, Coach. I got 3 more things I want to ask you. Payton Thorne. You brought Payton in here. It was a rough first year for him. But we sat down and talked with Payton over at Vintage Restaurant. Yeah. Shout out to Vintage 2298 Restaurant in Bushwick.
My wife and I got to go there the other night.
They're great, aren't they?
Wow.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Incredible food and great options.
Yeah, Payton ate them out of out of the kitchen. I'll tell you that. But he did share how much more confident he feels in how things will go on the field next year based on changes you guys have made this offseason. Is Hugh Freeze the play caller back? this season
Yeah.
full time?
Well, I've hired Derek Nix, who was with me for 5 years,
Right.
and he and Kent and myself will collaborate on the game plan. I don't know exactly
Who's holding the call? So you coach?
Oh, we're all going to have the call
Okay,
sheet for
all right.
sure. You know, I think any head coach has the right to step in and make calls.
Coach Nix had a weird clause in his contract that said if he left for a job and he wasn't the primary play caller, he owed a buyout or something. Or
well, he is the primary play caller.
there you go. All right,
there you go.
We got it on record.
You got it on record.
Yeah.
So, but at any point, you know, we're going to say, hey, Kent, what do you think? Hey, you know, Marcus, what do you think? Jake, what do you want to run? So I think the play calling stuff, particularly with a staff that's been together like we have, is you know, it varies from game to game as to exactly what that looks like, as because everybody's going to have ideas now that we're back in the system that I'm really familiar with, you know, and Nick's is familiar with because he's been with me, and Jake's somewhat familiar with it. Kent's really familiar with it. So here we go. So I mean, there's going to be a lot of things in between the series of, hey, Kent, what do you think? And Maurice, what do you think? And Marcus, what do you think? And we've been, Hiller's been with me. He's here now.
Yeah.
You know, so all of us are going to have those ideas, and I don't think anybody really cares who made the call in between the game, you know, or in between the series of let's do this. It works. Yeah. Let's do this the next time. And so I think Payton senses this is. I have not said this to Payton, but I think he senses alignment when he's in there with Kent or Jesse, or comes to my office, or I'm in the room with him, or Nix is in the room with them. I just think he says, oh, these guys, they've done this before. And they've all done it together before, and they're speaking one language.
He indicated as much, not as eloquently as you did, but he mentioned that, you know, with some of the terminology simplification that you guys have gone through, going back to the old way that you've done it, it has helped catch everybody up so that they're on the same page. There was a interesting comment. I was talking to him about Cam Coleman and how awesome it is to have a guy to go out there and make a catch like Cam made on A-Day for the touchdown. And he mentioned the other Coleman he played with, Keon Coleman. He said Keon called those 50-50 balls 80-20 balls. Yeah. Says 80-20 was in the air, 80%
that's the mentality
me.
all the great ones have. Is if I'm in one-on-one situation in this offense, then I need to win. We thought that it should be 70-30.
Yeah.
And
give him
you know,
10%.
and give the guy a chance.
Yeah.
And a lot of good things can happen if it's truly one-on-one. And that means I, Kent, Jesse, and Nix have done a great job of teaching Payton, Hank, Holden, Walker, post-snap, what should happen.
Yeah.
If that ball is thrown into umbrella coverage over there, we've done a poor job teaching. But if it's truly one-on-one, there's a lot of good things. I've seen a lot of flags thrown on those big dudes that are in one-on-ones. And I've seen a lot of great one-on-one catches.
Yeah.
And particularly if you get good at the back shoulder throw and the different options we have off of that. So I think Payton senses what we said, and I think that's made him more confident. And you have Cam Coleman out there that makes you more confident too.
For sure. Seems like Cam's going to play. He's
going to play.
He's going to play.
Lord willing.
But let me talk about your other top 30 prospect in Perry Thompson.
Yeah.
He gets here in a few weeks. We had a chance to talk to him off the record, and he's excited to get in and start working. How do you work a young guy that comes in the summer into you're going to be looking for all the help you can get, at wide receiver. So if he's another 80-20 guy, how does he win that other spot this year?
Well, you need 4 guys at the outside that can do it. And so, you know, wish we'd have had him here in the spring, obviously, but we've got a whole staff of, and hopefully the rules pass where everybody can contribute to developing our kids. And he's going to have to spend some time here this summer catching up with the mental side of it for sure. And with Dom on the physical side, and where he's ready to roll come fall camp, because it's obviously he's got the potential to be that 80-20, 70-30 one-on-one guy, and we're excited to have him. And don't forget Malcolm either, who's tearing up the state records in track. And another good one that we believe in. So it really would be awesome if he got here and could contribute in year one also, and we're going to try everything we can to make that happen.
I couldn't help but notice that Cam Coleman definitely hit the weight room this spring.
He
I
did.
mean, he looks a different
How
guy.
about that? Just in a few months.
Yeah. Perry looks all like
Yeah,
where
Perry
Cam
was already
got to.
thicker
Yeah.
and more developed, and so a summer with Dom's even going to help him even more too in defining him. And he reminds me of Laquan, the way he looked coming out of high school.
Coach, let's end on this. You joined the list of Ole Miss coaches to come to Auburn.
That's right.
I want to talk about you maybe possibly finishing your career here if things go the way you want, right? Like, is Auburn where you want to be?
Yeah,
How committed?
That's my.
You're not going to win a national title and bounce on us, are you?
My wife has no other plan, and I want to say she has never. All the traveling around that I've caused for us chasing this crazy profession we're in, that's an awesome profession, and but has its challenges for families and things. And she's been the rock and the anchor of our family. And we're blessed that how many head coaches can say at this level can say, man, I'm blessed to be at a SEC school in a great town like Auburn and have my entire immediate family with me. I just, I talked to coaches this weekend, one of my daughters is here and one of my sons is over here. Man, we have the whole crew here.
Yeah.
I just think that's such a blessing, and we love it here, and our full intent is for this to be my last stop.
Well, you win enough games.
You got to win games.
Yeah, I think that will definitely be in the cards for you. Coach, I want to thank you for taking some time to talk to me here.
No, thank you. And if I could
football.
just say to the Auburn family, man, just continue with, give us some patience, but we should give you reason to be optimistic too. I get it. It's a balance. Everybody wants immediate wins right now, as do I. And I think we're closer. I don't know what that looks like on the win total in this league. It's crazy, but I am more confident than ever that we can return this place to glory.
Yeah, it feels like that stretch from Oklahoma to Kentucky really will define your season, right? Like,
yeah, I can't even remember what that stretch is.
Oklahoma at home, Georgia on the road, bye week, Missouri on the road, Kentucky on the road.
That's a tough stretch, and I'm not crazy about our schedule, and I don't think that's great for our fans. 5 straight home games is tough on fans.
Yeah,
and I hate that for them. I know they'll show up, but and then no home game in
for
October.
For a month.
That's that's the best month.
Road, bye week, road. Yeah. So, well, Coach, thanks for joining me. Yeah. Guys, that's it for another great edition of The Mix with Auburn head football coach Hugh Freeze. If you want more content like this, please hit like and subscribe. We are The War Report on every social media platform. TW Report on TikTok. We're signing off, and as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.